I was editing the video last week. I realized I forgot to throw the Anya headband on. I'm disappointed in myself. Grown ass man wearing a child for a headband. You know, you can't make this stuff up. How far I've fallen, right? Like, I can't believe it. Anyways, more Spy Family, you know what happens. There's nothing more for me to say. Maybe we'll get into like an arc, you know? We can always pray and hope, but realistically they're gonna give us like some stupid side character thing, and then I'm gonna love it, and then I'm part of the problem why the story doesn't like have a story, and then we kind of just move from there. So that's more of what we're expecting. If you like it all, like and subscribe to me on to make feel free to stick around for the discussion. Leave me comments with this specific series. This is a Toho show that's gonna get blocked at some point, probably very soon. If you're watching a couple weeks late, link in the description. There'll be to reaction. I'll put it down there. Just come back and leave a like or watch the video a little bit or leave a comment or do something just so I know that my efforts of paying for site that, you know, I don't make any money on and I'm wasting money by just keeping them on there so people can still watch them at some other point. You know, it just makes me feel a little bit better knowing that efforts aren't going to waste. So just do that. I'd appreciate that. Let's get going though with the third episode of season. Some Spy Family fun, the usual, not involving the family though, for the most part, which is interesting. Again, 2 episodes in a row where we don't get a lot of focus, say, on like Anya or any of the main cast, really. Well, we got some Bond stuff last week, not necessarily the same. So it's interesting the direction they go, but the Yuri stuff's actually pretty interesting for the most part of what they were trying to make it out. Fleshes out his character a bit more, gives you some understanding behind the idea that he's not just focused on his sister. Well, he kind of is. At the same time, he's like not, and he has some other stuff going on, and some other values and things that he kind of cares about, and how serious he actually takes his job at the end of the day, even if, you know, part of the reason or a majority of the reason might be because he wants to create a world where, you know, it's great for her to be around then, right? Still being able to see how serious he ends up taking stuff like this, that he stays up for days on end and he constantly tracks people down, and see how considerate of a person he can be, that even when we do catch this guy at the end, he doesn't want to, you know, embarrass him or have him be seen like this in front of his family or anything, and he's trying to protect him from that stuff. Really, really fun stuff, while still throwing in the stuff regarding his sister and some other things that happen with Yor. It's a fun way for them to kind of detour and go off of that, which I think is a pretty excellent way of them showcasing this, and they made it fairly interesting. I didn't find myself like overly bored about it. I wasn't like thrilled or in love with it, of course, but at the same time, it's not a bad way for them to approach it either. And I talked about last time how it's a really good way that they are able to do mini stories like this, and probably just chapters from the manga, but be able to translate that fully into something like this, and flesh out some characters a bit more and give you a bit more care for them, so that if you do actually turn things a little bit more serious in certain moments or introduce these characters and have like an ultimate climax maybe where like him and Lloyd are going against each other or something, maybe you have a bit more care for these people because they're not just so like one trick and, you know, having one thing going for them, or maybe because you don't know enough about them, you can't really feel attached to them or understand their motives or the things they're coming from, so there's no substance really there. And I think that it does another good job at being able to showcase an episode that is pretty entertaining for what it is. The end sequences are phenomenal. I mean, the whole chapter with Bondman and him growing his harem is fucking funny, and it's wonderful just to think that this is the type of stuff that they're just showing on TV for people like Anya to see, which is kind of crazy. It's even better the ones at the end and being able to see into like Anya's world a little bit, you know, or Lloyd not being able to understand Anya in like certain moments, and then just her enjoying her ride on the polar bear and everything else, right? Like it's fun things. They do really fun stuff with the styles and changing things up, especially at the end, and doing more of the cartoon style and like the older animation maybe, and having like the filters and stuff over it and more sketchy instead of like more, you know, refined and everything. It looks really good though, and interesting, and just fun for us to be able to see, and also fleshes out a bit more, especially the Bondman thing of understanding like what the things that Anya might be watching actually are whenever she talks about it or gets excited over it, or, you know, does something or gets inspired from it, instead of like a tiny little clip we see on the TV of her watching it, actually putting us into that world and being able to. It works pretty well, and it's fun. The entire episode, once again, for the first part, sets up around this, what you're going on his job here, trying to stop somebody from spreading bad information basically and bad things about their side of the country here, and doing everything in his power to basically prevent that from happening from an old journalist who's trying to spread out these things. I don't know if the things that we see him later on do when he's trying to look for his job, which happens a long while after this, and he's like taking his pictures and he's just grasping at like everything. Like, I don't know if this was the things that he was doing, because if so, like, I don't feel like it's that great, but I'm pretty sure it is, because at the same time he does this stupid bullshit. And he steals the toy gun and forces the kids to do this, and then he just completely, manipulates what the situation actually is, and frames it in a bad light from what it actually was, and makes the side of the country actually to look out bad. So I guess that makes sense, and that they have kids out here, have to go through trash and have to do all these things, and it's a disaster. He's really grasping at nothing here, but at the same time, people might buy it, and they've never really ventured out over here, or they have a hatred towards it, and it might, fuel things a little bit more. So he's doing absolutely everything in his power, even though he's doing the minimal work. But it is really funny the way that he's kind of approaching it and doing it. But at the end of the day, he's willing to do absolutely anything because he needs to, make money. He needs to be able to provide and do whatever he has to and improve the lives of other people within the country and stuff. And the only way that he's able to properly get out of his way and do that is if he kind of spreads bad news and does what his job ends up being here, which is a bit unfortunate to have to see and have to put somebody in a situation like that, but it happens. The post office stuff is pretty clever and a good way of him having a job there or working there and being able to kind of like slip his stuff through, so it doesn't have to worry about being inspected and going through any checks or anything, so we can easily get that through, which is a very clever and fun way of us being able to actually approach this situation and do it. I love Yuri being outside here and them just frightening him, but I also love the stand that he takes, and instead of staying inside and like hiding or anything, he faces it and he doesn't like deny anything, and he owns up to absolutely everything, of course. But then once again, Yuri, his side of like not wanting his family to see is how pathetic he was for going out and selling out things and doing all of this, and instead takes him on the outside, which is great. I love this guy. His design's great, and his relationship with Yuri is pretty fun here. And then of course we have to go visit the whole family, where he gets angry about everybody but about Yor. Of course, I love Yor's outfit, actually like change it up a little bit here, which is great from her typical homeware that we usually see her in. And then Anya being able to be like, dude has some problems, you have to realize that's great. The style change when we go to the Bond Man episode is fucking funny, and then him being able to just continuously grow his harem. This is like the other anime we're watching this season, huh? 100 girlfriends. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. But he ends up killing or getting like killed and shot instead and punched by all these girls at the end, which is great. I love how she turns this into like, oh, I could talk to Becky about this, I understand, which is funny. And then the end moments are absolutely hilarious. I love the style change once again, and what they're doing here. This moment too, it looks like the most boring, stupid thing, and he can't put himself in her head, because of course he can't. It's such a hard thing to be able to do, especially as a child. So he doesn't understand what makes her so happy, but she absolutely loves doing this. It's the thing that's multiple times bigger than her. Of course she's gonna love it, right? Of course she wants to sit on it and be much higher than she ever usually is, right? And feel like she's like moving way quicker and whatever it is, because it's capable of more than she is. It's so stupid, even like her pose and everything here. It is, but it makes sense. The pool jokes are really funny too. Not wanting to go back after finding out the people like peeing and everything is great because it's gross in her mind. I love playing back off of the Damien thing from last week, bringing that back into the fold here, and him, being like, oh, I'm not fucking up, I'm not doing that again, and him just being completely like wired early in the morning is great. I thought they were gonna flip here and show us again, and he was actually gonna be sleeping the next day after saying I'm never gonna be able to do it, but instead we take the route and Anya's fucking sleeping because she's got 10 more minutes for the bomb, so she's chilling, which is absolutely great. That's my quick little rant on what we got going on there. I'm excited for hopefully more. I do really want to get back to formula of Anya based episodes or family based episodes or whatever it is. Like I really do, because that's what I love so much about this. I don't mind these at all, but I really do kind of want something like that, and I'm gonna be a bit upset if they keep not giving them to us, because that's kind of what I'm here for. So hopefully next week, if you liked it all, like and subscribe to me, not to me, feel free to check out the other videos on the channel. Let me come to this episode of series. I'll be back for episode 4 next week. Have a good one though. Peace.